A novel idea was how one headline writer put it. Inmates in a number of prisons in Brazil will be able to shorten their sentence by reading books and writing essays about them. A panel is to decide which prisoners are eligible to take part in the project called Redemption Through Reading. Taking books and other kinds of creativity into prisons is, of course, done in many countries across the world. So how important can reading and, more generally, education be for a prisoner? Gillian Sharp has been canvassing opinion.
The sound of one of Brazil's vast shanty towns. Economic developments are driving huge changes in the country at large. Now there's a change coming in its prison system. Specially selected inmates in a small number of prisons may be able to trim up to 48 days a year off their sentence by reading up to 12 works of literature, philosophy, science or classics. The BBC Brazil correspondent is Paulo Cabral.
What lies behind this is the idea or the philosophy that guides many prison systems around the world, that they should be in there to be re-educated, to be prepared to live in society again, and not only to be punished. Of course, we know that doesn't happen often. In Brazil, there is a serious problem in prisons. I mean, there's really just big storages of people in the end, you know, and so this is an attempt to try and humanize the system. Of course, it's been also widely criticized by people that don't think these kinds of opportunities or treatment should be given to people that did something to deserve to be in there in the end.
But will it work? Of course, no one knows yet, but it's aroused interest across the world. Dr. Casey Jordan, a US-based criminologist, says it's important that the inmates taking part are hand-picked, but she remains to be convinced.
I have to say that I like the idea very much, but I'm a bit skeptical that you could correlate the reading of literature, which again is a fantastic thing for them to be doing with their time, but I don't want us to have a leap of logic that this could actually lead to instant reformation or redemption. And in my research, it's usually job skills more than literature, which is going to be the best deterrent to seeing them return to prison.
Once the doors have closed behind an inmate, one thing they will have on their hands is time. Phil Bradley is an ex-offender who trained in prison as a literacy tutor.
I was pretty shocked, despite my own situation that was ongoing. You're obviously looking for ways to occupy your mind, but I was genuinely shocked by the lack of literacy levels among prisoners. I didn't think that kind of lack of function existed in this day and age. Any teaching process can be frustrating, particularly in a custodial environment, because there's always other things going on. The person you're dealing with isn't just voluntary coming in off the street. I mean, they're dealing with things, their own time in custody, possibly an upcoming court case, and possibly issues behind that as well, you know. So it was certainly challenging, but I certainly found it fulfilling and rewarding to be able to help other people.
Turning the pages of the first issue of a new prison magazine being run across a number of Scottish prisons. Inmates can share their art and writing.
Some people are concerned about being in prison and they want to write about that experience. They want to write about getting in prison in the first place. There's a poem in there, for example, about methadone. There's also stories about a best friend who's struggling with alcoholism. There's a story about losing money on the races, kind of everyday life stuff that they remember from being outside or they look forward to engaging in when they do get outside.
Kate Hendry is a lecturer at Motherwell College working at Shotts Prison. Although the priority is basic numeracy and literacy skills, among other things, she also teaches creative writing and runs a book and film group. There are, she acknowledges, real challenges, but also very real rewards.
In somewhere like Barlinnie, the challenge is to do with people leaving, this constant high turnover of prisoners. A prison like Shotts, where you've got long-term prisoners, it's about sustaining interest over the long term. The rewards are supposed to seeing people change, and you start off with somebody who's defined by their criminal life in a way, you know, particularly in repeat offenders. Occasionally, you get somebody who realises that there's more to them than just that. I think if we can help to shift their identities, that can be really amazing.
Education inside isn't compulsory. Jim King, who's head of learning and skills for the Scottish Prison Service, says they try to make what's on offer relevant to the individual, but education has to be seen as part of a wider jigsaw of measures.
Many prisoners have had poor educational experiences. Many did not attend secondary school. So consequently, when they come into prison for short periods of time, even if they do engage, the problem is quite immense in trying to address those learning deficits, for want of a better expression, in a very short period of time. We're really trying to challenge their thinking. We're trying to enable the individuals to reflect on their behaviour, to reflect on their past lives, to reflect on their experiences, and to develop wider concepts such as empathy.
Others, like Phil Bradley, were already keen readers before they went to prison, but once inside found it more important than ever. He says anything which encourages prisoners and gives them the ability to enjoy books is good.
No matter how well adjusted you think you are, if you're a reader, you tend to come to rely on books as being one of the things that, at a basic level and a superficial level, to pass the time, and at other levels, as you kind of get a wee bit more inside yourself, you're really looking to kind of explore everything for new authors, new stories, different genres as well. Even at a holistic level, it's fundamentally important that someone's at least able to have the skills to do it if they want, Even outside of custody, now I go daft without a book, but in there, and you're obviously locked away for considerable periods of time, the books are one of the things that lifts you through it,
That report from Gillian Sharp.